Hey guys, what's good? I'm back, and in this video we are going to be doing loot public EBS snapshots. Another pretty basic lab which focuses on a main learning point, and in this case it's the use of public EBS snapshots. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Reading the scenario, huge logistics, a titan in their industry has invited you to simulate an assumed breach scenario. They're handling you to the keys to their kingdom, albeit the basic AWS credentials of a fresh intern. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to navigate their intricate cloud maze, starting from this humble entry. Gain situational awareness, identify weak spots, and test the waters to see how far you can uh, how far you can elevate your access. Can you navigate this digital labyrinth and prove that even the smallest breach can pose significant threats? The challenge is set and the game is on. So, yeah, let's get into this. So, first of all, let's do AWS configure and log in with the credentials that's given. Let's go here. Perfect. Now let's just see if everything's working correctly by doing this command over here. And I'm gonna zoom in, so yeah. And we have this account ID and we are the user and intern, so everything looks good. So one of the things that we can do to enumerate public EBS snapshots is we could just simply use the account ID, just copy this and paste it over here, turn this to public and put in the account ID, and this will eventually come up. But we should know the region. We have to probably change the region until we find the correct one. That's one way we could do it. But yeah, there's just one way I wanted to throw out there. But the other way that's kind of involved in this is to check the user permission, find the snapshot, and then check whether it is publicly available. So we're going to go through towards that route. And the first thing we got to do is check our policies, which would show us what type of permissions our user can do. Can it even list the snapshots? And in this case, we do have one policy attached to the user, which is public snapper. And we can go ahead and get the current version of this policy. And the reason why we want the current version is so we can use the get policy version command, which is this right here, in order to view details about this policy. And the version in this command is just right over here, this v9, it's version 9. So get policy version, and it gives us this whole output. So first of all, we see that we have the describe snapshot attributes, which allows us to list the attributes of the snapshot which exists. And it exists in US East 1. That's also something to note. The other thing we can do is describe snapshot, and it's on every resource, which is in EC2. It's in that category of snapshots. So yeah. And the other thing we can do is list attached user policies, get the policy version, or sorry, get policy and get policy version. It's pretty much the commands we already did over here, which is list policies, get the policy version, and then get policy and then get policy version over here. And yeah, the other one that we have is this list snapshot blocks and get snapshot blocks. This is pretty interesting. I was playing around with it, but when you're gonna list the snapshot blocks that exist for this snapshot ID over here, it's just going to be like so much. I think it was like 10,000 when I did it. So what I did was I outputted all those blocks to a file, and then I was using a script to go through the file, but it's like 10,000. It's going to download each of those blocks that exist, put it into a raw format, and then from that raw format, we would just like mount it. And that's pretty much it. We would do it that way, instead of using our AWS account to do all of this. But yeah, it's just really long, and I was like, should I add this in the video or not? I was like, no, it's just too long to do. It's very, very long. I'm not joking. And it's probably not even an efficient way that people are going to try to do. And on top of that, we have to know if it's encrypted or unencrypted, right? Because if it's encrypted, there's no point doing all of this. And if it's and even if it's unencrypted, you rather or preferably would probably do it this way using your AWS account. But yeah, going ahead, we're just going to get into using these commands over here, which is describing the snapshots. So we'll get information about this snapshot that exists. And we would have to use the owner ID to do this command. So the owner ID is the account ID, I believe. Yep, 608. And just and we can get that using this command over here, get caller identity, right over here. And we can see that there's two snapshots available. And the important thing to check over here is volume size, encrypted. Is it true or false? In this case, it's false. Both of them are false. But we'll focus on this snapshot over here, this ID over here, only because that's what we have. This describes snapshot attribute permissions too. So one of the things we want to check in this case over here for this one is we want to see whether this is publicly available or not. Can we access this or not? And one of the attributes that we're going to look for is, let's see over here, create volume permission attribute. So we're going to try to look for this attribute to see whether who has permissions to create a volume and then attach that to an EC2 instance and then access that pretty much. And let's go ahead and do that command first. So describe attribute. And this command that we're doing right over here, describe snapshot attribute, is just this one over here, describe snapshot attribute. And we can see we do have, or everybody has permissions, so it's public. Everybody has permissions to create a volume from the snapshot, which is why even though like we can just write the account ID over here and go to the correct region, which is US East 1. And again, we found that from over here, US East 1, and we can see that it is publicly accessible. So is there anything else to check over here? Yep, there is this other command that's given in the slide or the walkthrough. And this will directly enumerate snapshots that the owner ID, which is our account, owns, or AWS account owns, yeah. And yeah, just public things in this region, US East 1. And the same thing comes, this is public and encryption is false. So yeah, let's go ahead and just take the snapshot ID over here. We can copy this and we can close this. I just wanted to show over here that we could do it with the account ID. I did this before because it just takes so long for it to show. So we can close this, and this is the main page. And we just click EC2 over here, go to snapshots, change this to public snapshot, which it already is, public snapshots. And over here, we would just write the snap ID and just press enter and let this run. Check this out. Okay. This takes some time, so yeah, it is what it is. Can't do much about it. All right, we got it. Okay, so now we're going to just click this over here and we're going to create a volume from this. So create volume from snapshot. We can just use the default ones, but the key thing to note over here is the availability zone, which we will just use this one. We're not going to encrypt this. We're just going to create the volume. Over here, we should have the volume from that snapshot. Now we need to attach this to an instance. We'll go ahead and click launch instance. And the name, we can keep it as, just call this test. Call it loot. Why not? And the next thing we're going to need is, we can just keep this all as free tier eligible, is the key pair name, which we'll use to connect. You can just click this create new key pair, enter the key name, and when you click create key pair, it'll pretty much download it for you. It's like the SSH key, but I've gone ahead and done that already, and this is it. And if you go over here, just move it to your VM and set the correct permissions. I'll get to that on how to use this to connect. But for this one over here, network setting, we're going to have to edit this. And for the subnet, we're going to use our correct availability zone that the EBS snapshot is in, which is US East 1A. So we can click that there. And we're going to create a security group. So over here, we're just going to call it SSH access. And the description is required, so I'm just going to paste this here. And for type, I'll just use all traffic. And anywhere. This should be good enough. Inbound rule. All right, we can keep this like that. And we'll go ahead and launch our instance. There we go. And we can go back to volumes over here and then click attach volume. And we'll use our instance. And the device name, we can keep it as whatever we want. Let's just go with the most common one. I guess this is the most common, but we'll use this. I think this is what they use in the walkthrough. We'll go ahead and use this one, the first one. And as we can see over here, newer Linux kernels may rename your device to this. But we'll get to that. So attach volume, and there we go. Now, if you need help connecting to this, you can just click this, connect, and it will give you multiple options on how to connect to it. And in this case, we're going to use an SSH client. So it will show over here that we just use Shimon 400 on our key. And then we can just run this command to connect to it. Let's just copy this. Yes. And there we go. We are in. Now let's list the volumes that are on this. And we'll find over here, we have this XVDB. And this is the one we're looking for, which is 7.9G. And we'll go ahead now and we're going to mount this. So first, let's create a directory on where we're going to mount it. And then we can just mount it using this. Let's see, XVDB1. So DB, we got to change this to a B. And this ext4 is just the file format, file system format. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, if we go to that disk, we should be able to access the intern directory. And let's go in there. Let's go to sudo. Let's first turn sudo. Go to intern, practice files, and there we have it. We just add this, and it will open some credentials up, and apparently it's trying to access the bucket. So S3 connection is trying to be made. And yeah, and the bucket name in this case is eCorp client data. So let's log in. EBS configure. I'm going to zoom in as well. Let's do this. This is just going to override our previous credentials. Perfect. So we can go ahead and list what's in this using this command over here. And we see that there is the flag.txt. So we can just go ahead and do copy. We're going to have to use S3 this when we're using a command like copy flag.txt, and there we go. And there is the flag.txt. So yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. Hopefully it was easy for you guys to follow along and learn. But yeah, take care and see you.